Professional real estate investors are a different breed. We're not afraid to go all in and take educated risks to build stronger businesses and help our families live better lives. This is the Flip Nerd Professional Real Estate Investor Show, and I'm your host, Mike Hambright. Each week, I host a new episode live and bring you America's top real estate investors as guests. Let's start today's show. But excited to have my buddy Tony Sicilian here with us today. He's also a fellow Dallas real estate investor. We've known each other for a long time now. So Tony, happy to have you here, buddy.
Thank you, Mike. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you here. So one of the things that Tony believes that we were talking about ahead of time is just by helping people. Tony's an investor. He's also a lender, does a number of other things. And we were talking about just how we both feel like by helping people, whether it's could be through coaching, it could just be through providing a service like hard money or the mastermind I lead or other things like that, that we personally get a lot of value from that. And in exchange for that, you know, there's a personal paycheck of just the joy of doing those things. And there's also a business side of it too that comes out. And so you kind of do these things without expecting like, hey, I just gave you advice, like pay me for it. It's not necessarily that way. It's that stuff comes around 6 months, a year, 2 years later. And you just find if you're constantly giving and helping, then you're constantly getting benefit one way or another. And it's just this ecosystem that you don't really know it exists until you focus on it for a while. Am I saying that right, Tony?
Absolutely. There is no direct, at least in my mind, there's no direct paycheck that comes from helping people unless you're charging. But there is no direct paycheck, but it comes around in the form of people call me back and they're like, hey, I know you helped me on this deal. I got this other one. Would you take it from me? You know, and so maybe you get to buy a deal or, you know, comes back in the form of a loan. I definitely enjoy helping people figure out problems. It's that I'm definitely attracted to problem solving. I think over my career, I've been dubbed the problem solver. So whether it's title issues or buying the worst of the worst houses, I take them. And I show people that we perform, and then they call you back on the next one, or they call you back with, hey, I need this, or I need that. Can you connect me with this person? And so, yeah, it doesn't always bring me direct income, but it makes me happy and then furthers my network and my ability to grow.
Yeah. I've said for years that even as a real estate investor, like when I first started in investing, like we were burning through cash. We're like, I was, financially, we were not in a good place. And that, when I first started, I would go out and I would literally pray like in front of a house, like, God, please let me buy this house. I need this house. And it didn't work. Like, it just didn't really work. And I think once I realized like, hey, I can't win unless I help that person. Right. So even talking with sellers, and I've kind of said for years, like, look, if you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm going to go try to help as many people as I can today, and just know that every once in a while you're going to win too, then I think that's a good way to run the business, because you don't want to go meet with a seller and find out that, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to buy this house, and be like, just stand up and like walk out. Right. You're still trying to serve and add value while you're there. Cause honestly, when you lay in bed at night, thinking about your day or thinking about why am I doing all this, it helps you to know, I've found, maybe everybody doesn't feel this way, but that, gosh, I didn't get anything today, but I really feel like I help people. Right. And,
in which case you actually won, right?
Right.
So
right.
I don't have to win with the contract, especially I was telling you this before. I still go, after all these years, I still am the one that goes on all my buy calls.
Yep.
I don't have a buyer. I go do it myself. And when I walk into that appointment, I have to leave. And this is kind of my motto, where I might not buy the house, but I'm going to leave, at the very least, I'm going to leave them with information that I believe that will help them, because they're going to sell that house most likely. Whether they chose to sell it to me, to another investor, or retail, they're going to sell it. And if I can leave them with some knowledge is power, and I can help them make a better decision, then I'm happy. Then I won. You know, I didn't get the contract, but I still won. I'm still happy with my performance that day. You know,
yeah.
We all have to be able to sleep at night.
And there's this law of reciprocity, right? Like karma is alive and well. If you're doing good things, if you're helping people, you're putting people before yourself, you just have to know that that's going to come back around, because it very much is true. And, you know, we've had people before, certainly a lot of people, that we can't buy their house and we just treated them right. And the next thing you know, some referral comes through. They're like, there's somebody named Susan at our church that we talk to, and I guess you talk to them about buying their house, and we're in a situation where they said we should talk to you and we should only talk to you. And when that happens, you're like, holy cow, like I didn't count on that. I didn't treat
Yeah.
them right expecting that. But if I do that enough, like karma's alive and well, it comes back around.
Absolutely. If all I did that day was help that little old lady or that young or that old couple or whatever, if all I did was help them find a moving company, right? Because in this business, you always have to keep your Rolodex full of resources, And one of the things I find myself doing constantly is paying for movers to help my sellers. I do it way too often, but helping them move and transition into that next chapter. They get so grateful that gratuity, that sort of gracious mentality comes back in so many ways, and it's a blessing, right? And so I think that makes me happier and makes me feel free and makes me feel proud of what we do. I want to buy houses. Yes, I want to buy them to where I'm profitable, but it's got to be a win for me. It's got to be a win for them.
Yeah. And I think the point of what we're talking about here is this extends beyond just sellers too, right? Is like, if you're talking to wholesalers or you're looking at deals that wholesalers are bringing you, like on one level, we all get sent a bunch of wholesale deals that are total BS. And we're like, there's like no way in hell. But we all know that sometimes they're like, well, I've never even seen that guy before. He's a new guy. So if you take the time, and I'm not saying that everybody does this, a lot of us don't have time for it. But if you were to just jump on the phone and say, how did you come up with these numbers? And the truth is if you were to do that consistently and talk to people and say, can I give you a little guidance here, a little thought on this, or here's why it doesn't work for me. Did you think about this? And you kind of help people, then it's going to happen where that guy is going to come back around. Or if you say, look, tell me if you can't close this deal, like come back to me. Maybe I can talk to the seller with you, whatever it might be. There's going to be some opportunity that's going to come your way, but it all starts with taking the time to help somebody, guide them, give them your thoughts or opinions. Now, I have opinions on everything, and not everybody wants my opinions, but so don't force it on somebody. But if they're willing to listen and you're willing to help, like opportunity will come your way.
I bought a house from a wholesaler last month, and I wasn't the highest. I was definitely lower than what he was asking for. And I said, hey, man, look, this is my number. I'm not the type of guy where if you don't take it now, I walk, or you come back to me next week, I'm going to be lower. That's my number. There is no emotion when I'm buying from a wholesaler. It's not emotional, right? I'm not saying, oh, well, this is Mike Hambright. I know he's making, X amount of dollars. Like I'm going to offer him, way less than what he's pitching it to me at. Right. It's not about that. It's a pure statistics data purchase. So if I make you an offer and it works that day, great. If it doesn't work that day and you call me back, absolutely. I'd be happy to take it. In that situation, he called me back a week later and I was still able to buy it. It was a win for me. We made money on it. It was a win for him. He made some money on it, and he knows he can call me back, and I might not be the highest, but we are definitely a guaranteed close. So I think you have to approach it, whether you're buying from wholesalers or sellers, or even when you're dealing with your contractors, right? Don't beat up your contractors to get the cheapest price on every deal. Ultimately, your guys are going to get mad at you, right? So you flip enough houses, you get bad contractors. So I think just treating people right at every level is so important to happiness in this business.
Yeah. And this, for those that are watching or listening right now, this isn't, if you're just a real estate investor, there's a lot of opportunity to apply what we're saying here. If you're in a service business, like Tony is also a lender, I have an agency, Investor Machine, that Tony actually is a member of, and Investor Fuel, which is a mastermind for professional real estate investors. I mean, those two businesses for me are all relationships. They're all people that are coming in because they know me or trust me. And I don't take that lightly. And it just happened from being helpful over many, many years. Right. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to do that in your business. So how do you give some tactical things, like on the lending side of your business? How do you I know you get business from everything we just talked about here, being helpful, lending a hand, giving advice and guidance. I tried to merge those two words there. But just talk about some tactical things that you do and that maybe other people that are kind of watching or listening to this could apply in their business as well.
I think on the lending side, it's really interesting because there's a lot of lenders out there. My motto lately is cheap money ain't easy, and easy money ain't cheap. And what I'm trying to explain is that the you don't always need the best rate. You need the people who can perform with you, right? I think some people look at lenders as greedy because they're charging, a higher interest rate or whatever it is, but that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
We're loaning on an asset and we're trying to help you be successful. If our clients, if I work with InvestMark Mortgage, right? And if our clients borrow money from us for a deal, if they go belly up, I mean, we weren't successful, right? So they're not going to come back to us for another deal. So
Yep.
I think knowing your lender, and we're not in what I call the loan to own business. We're in the loan so that you could be successful business, on the same kind of doing, put good out there, get good back. We want to make good loans to people who need to further their real estate investment career and make sure that they are able to perform, make sure that they have the resources for the right contractors, and I think that breeds good clients and successful investors.
Yeah. Yeah. Even as a
I
wholesaler,
kind of apply that.
yeah, even as a wholesaler, I think
Good.
there's a lot of wholesalers out there that recommend other contractors, that recommend lenders sometimes. So if if you're not doing this right now, I think there's an opportunity to, when you sell your property, it's a little more turnkey. You're like, here's a bunch, especially for newer people that you might be selling to. Here's a bunch of resources that can help you if you buy this deal, or quite frankly, even if you don't. And the truth is then those vendors, often they're not paying the wholesaler to share their stuff. I mean, they're not necessarily
Yep.
affiliates, right? But then sometimes, what happens is what I found is when I help vendors in my business, like I send truthfully, I really never send anybody to my best general contractor, because they're like, that's like giving away your best babysitter. But if they're like a roofer, HVAC guy, any other trade that I'm like not taking up a lot of their business, I'll share those openly. I'm a little selfish sometimes, so that's okay, I think. But
That's
the truth is
no,
those
that's
vendors,
very common, right? We never want
yeah.
to give away our
I can't tell you my best babysitter,
GC.
but her sister also babysits. But I'll say this, like there have been a time where I would recommend lots of different vendors to people just because they did a good job for me. So I thought I would tell you, like, hey, if you need a glass guy or a window guy, like, go to this guy. And then what happens is the next time I call that guy and I need something, he would say, you sent me a bunch of business. That's amazing. And he's like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
about 6 weeks out on like new windows right now, but like I can come measure you out this afternoon. Right. And they're just like, it's just it benefited me in an indirect
Yeah.
way, just by doing good that didn't cost me anything. Right.
A friend of mine called me yesterday and she's like, hey, I got this house in Mesquite. It's a pier and beam, and it's a house that we're keeping, and I want a good foundation company. And I was like, I joke because I laugh because people ask all the time, hey, do you got this? Or hey, do you got this guy? And so I try to give not just one. I try to give, so in this case, yesterday I gave her 3 contacts. I was like, here are my 3 best. Whoever you go with, the choice is yours, right? And it's because I don't want them to call, God forbid they do a bad job. I don't want them to call me back and be like, this person messed with me. I'm like, hey, I gave you 3,
Right.
But yeah, those guys call me back and they're like, oh man, thank you so much for that. Whether it was my granite guy, because I don't put granite in every house, or, I mean, you definitely have to keep your trades busy. You have to keep them making money, right? Everyone's got to profit. And I think that if we allow everyone to profit where they need to profit, then we all grow as a community. And so it's that same, I said this to you, this will be the 3rd time now. I travel in a pack. I don't want to be the lone wolf. I want to be in the pack, and I want everyone to be right there with me, as successful as I am, and doing good deals, making money, and having that freedom that we're fighting for.
Yeah. Yeah. It really forces you. And I found too, that I wasn't always this way. Like I'll say when I first started, I had a little bit more of a scarcity mindset. I mean, I came out of corporate America. We were very much in a situation where we like needed to be successful as soon as possible because we were just living off of savings. And, it was just a different time, I guess. And then I started to learn like, wow, I started to, meet people at RIA clubs, for example. This is like back in 2008, right? And so I'm like teaching, I would teach them some of the stuff that I've done, and people are like, well, can I come check out one of your rehabs? And like, sure. It kind of made me feel good, honestly. And the next
Yeah.
thing I know, I'm hosting, you know this probably, I was hosting these big events called Rehab Live, where I'd invite like 40 or 50 people to come like watch us rehab a house. And they just come out like 3 times before, during, and after. And we would just talk about it. And the next thing I know, I'm bringing in, coaching students and stuff like that. And it just turned in, it wasn't the intent, but it just turned into people like, could you teach me these things? Or can I, people would bring me deals. People are asking if I need, money. Am I looking for a new lender? And just by something that started off as maybe a little bit of ego, like it made me feel good to kind of show what I'm doing. And then it turned into like, wow, there's a business opportunity here, and it's helping people too. They're asking me for it, in fact. And so next thing you know, we're doing deals together, we're working together, and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of good things that kind of come out of giving first, I guess.
Yeah. And that furthered your, that freedom that you now have, right? I mean, so ego isn't a bad thing. Arrogance is a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
So, feeling good, just, that's a good thing, and I enjoy that. I have a lot of clients from the lending side that call me, hey, can you help me with comps on this? And I'm like, send me your comps and let me and I just kind of teach them how to read comps, right? I don't want to be giving, I'm not a realtor. I don't want to be giving them, hey, this is definitely going to be this value, but I will help them discern the data that they gave me and say, okay, really look at this one, and this is why this one sold for less or was on the market, for longer. And I know probably my 10 core clients call me multiple times a day for, hey, can you help me with this? Or, hey, can you help me with that? And it's great. I enjoy it so much. I got a review from a house that I bought from this seller, and they didn't make much money. They walked away with a couple $1,000, but they wrote me the nicest letter saying how I saved their life,
Oh, wow.
and it was like that sort of thing. When you get that, yes, I'm very proud of that. But at the same point, I know I did everything I could for them, and same thing. That was actually one of the moving situations where I helped them move, so it's little things like that made me feel good, gave me a good pep in my step type thing, and I can roll it into the next deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. For everybody that's watching right now, we're recording this. We're actually, I guess I say recording it live. Of course, you record everything live, right? But we're actually broadcasting it live. If you're an experienced investor, we'd love to have you in our professional real estate investor Facebook group. It's if you go to flipnerd.com/professional, it'll redirect you there. But it's called the Professional Real Estate Investor Network on Facebook. We'd love to have you in the group. We're growing the group right now. We do limit it to people that are actively doing deals, and so we don't have. It's never going to be a group with tens of thousands or 100,000 people in there that are asking all the newbie questions, which are fine. There's plenty of groups for that. Here we're talking about stuff to help take your business to the next level. So we'd love for you to join the group if you haven't yet. Tony, if folks wanted to learn more about you or connect, obviously you're doing deals in the Dallas-Fort Worth market and you do some lending here. Where else can they connect with you?
You can connect with us on Facebook at it's facebook.com investmark.mortgage. You can connect with me on my Facebook, which is facebook.com/TJ Sicilian, or just give me a call, 817-680-4554. I will try to answer, even though it rings all the time, but I'll try to answer, and I'm here for you if you need help. If you're in the DFW area, I'd love to connect and go have lunch.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And everybody, I don't think I said it. We're just kind of starting this new show here. I've been podcasting for 7 years now, but we're doing this one live because I think we ultimately want to make it interactive inside of the group. So if you're not watching it live, join the group, and you can join it. We'll be marketing when we go live so that we can ask questions and we can kind of banter a little bit there as well. And we do that about once a week on average. So go check out that group. Appreciate you joining us today, Tony.
Thanks, Mike. It was my pleasure. Hope to see you again soon.
Good to see you, buddy. And so I don't always have people on. I have people on my podcast that are in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And there's people that I've known, guys that you know too, some of them like Eddie Speed and some of these guys that I've known for like ever. and we only see each other like on a podcast or like at an event in like Orlando or somewhere. And we're like, why don't we ever see each other in our own market? I guess Dallas is a big place, but
It is.
kind of funny how that works though.
We got to go. Hopefully we'll find a restaurant that lets us have happy hour again sometime soon.
Yeah. Cool, buddy. Good to see you. Everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next show.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode. There are 3 ways I help successful real estate investors take their businesses and their lives to the next level. First, if you're in search of a community of successful real estate investors that help one another take their businesses to the next level, and a life-changing community of lifelong friends, please learn more about my Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind by visiting investorfuel.com. If you'd like a cutting-edge solution for the very best done-for-you lead generation on the planet, where we're handling the lead generation for many of America's top real estate investors, please learn more at theinvestormachine.com. And lastly, if you're interested in a free online community of professional real estate investors that isn't full of spam, solicitations, and newbie questions, please join my free Professional Real Estate Investor Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/professional.